Hello students, today I am going to explain you the chapter Silk Road by Nick Middleton. I have divided the chapter into two parts for detailed explanation. In this video, I have prepared a list of difficult words that you can write in your fair notebooks that will help you out to understand the chapter thoroughly. Here the story starts as the protagonist was heading towards Mount Kailas to complete the Korah in the morning. He witnessed a beautiful half moon in the blue sky. The clouds looked like French bread which glowed pink because of the sun which spread a slash of rays on the mountain tops. It looked like a rose-tinted blush. Ravu and Lamo wanted to give him a farewell gift. One evening, when the protagonist passed a message to Lamo through Daniel, she gave him a long-sleeved sheepskin coat, which is meant for men. Satan looked at him attentively while he climbed into his car and called him Drogba. They took a shortcut to cut off the Chang'an. His driver knew the short route which took them to the southwest towards Mount Kailas. They had to pass high mountain passes. Satan told him that they can reach the destination only if there is no snow, and they can't know until that they will reach there. The route was filled with open plains in Ravu, where gazelles were eating grass from the land which had little rain and disapproved while hopping back in the void. As they moved forward, a large group of wild asses appeared. Satan told him that they were approaching the wild asses long before they appeared there. Satan pointed out a huge pile of dust which he called Kyan in his local language. When they drew nearer to the destination, they could see a large group of animals progressing in a fast and uncontrollable manner, like they were doing military exercises. Trails of dust filled with air. As they passed the rocky area, they came across private Drogbas nurturing their group of birds. Both men and women stared at the car and some also waved at them. As they moved closer to the animals, the sheep would take a slippery path and would suddenly move into another direction away from the car. They witnessed nomads, tents which were dark in complete isolation, and a big black Tibetan dog standing as their guard. They fixed their gaze on the approaching car and ran behind it as a bullet fired from a gun. Those bushy creatures were blacker than the normal black color, who wore a bright red collar, and they barked angrily at them with big jaws. Those dogs were fearless and were running towards the car, causing Satan to apply brakes and change direction suddenly. The driver was driving in third gear while the turns were sharper and the ride got bumpier. Then they moved away from the road which ran along the icy river. It had sharp slopes and big rocks, coated with thick, sticky orange lichen. Below the rocks were chunks of snow. The protagonist felt a pressure on his ears. He held his nose and snorted in order to clear them. A sharp turn came again and Satan stopped the car and jumped out from his seat. Daniel too did the same. He exclaimed "Snow" in his excitement. A long track of snow was in front of them, which was about 15 meters long before it diminished and the normal dirty track appeared again. The snow was on both sides of them, and it was difficult to move the vehicle in that condition. The protagonist joined Daniel as Satan tried to move smoothly over the snowy surface by stamping his foot on the surface. The protagonist saw his wristwatch. They were 5,210 meters above sea level. The snow was deep beneath its icy top surface. Daniel said that if they turned the car over, they could slip off. Satan grabbed dirt and threw it across the frozen surface. They pitched in and held Satan until the snow with soil appeared and it loaded the tension of Satan. He drove back the car and slowly drove to the more comfortable side of the road. After 10 minutes, Satan stopped again as another obstacle came in front of them. They drove around the snowy track, which was steep and filled with rocks. He further drove from the hairpin bend, moving on the higher side where the snow was still there. The protagonist checked his watch again while he was climbing the mountain in the bright sunlight. They moved up to 5,400 meters height and his head began to pulsate again. He had a few sips of water from his bottle, which helped him to climb the slope. They reached at 5,515 meters and a large pile of stone was decorated with white silk scarves and some dirty prayer flags. They took a turn round that stone in a clockwise direction as in the tradition, and the driver checked the tires of his vehicle. He stopped at the petrol tank and unscrewed its top, which made a loud hiss noise as the pressure was making the fuel expand. The driver told him maybe it's dangerous, but told him not to smoke around there. His headache cleared as they descended down the slope. It was 2 o'clock when they stopped for lunch at a long canvas tent beside the dry salt lake. They had hot noodles. The plateau was disfigured and the lake was filled with salty water and thatched roof covered with snow. It had traces of extinct Thetis Ocean which used to border Tibet before the collision of the continent. Few men were working there with pickaxes and shovels. They were wearing sunglasses to minimize the glare coming from blue trucks loaded with pile of salt encrusted boots and long sheepskin coats. By the late afternoon, they reached Hor town and back to the east-west highway, which was an old route from Lhasa to Kashmir. Daniel found a ride as he was on his way back to Lhasa. Both of them bid him farewell at tire repair shop. The car suffered 2 punctures on the way from the Salt Lake, so Satan was eager to get them fixed. They had no spare tire left, and the second tire which he changed was replaced by a smooth tire just like the head of the protagonist. Thank you, students. The remaining part of the chapter will be explained in the next video. Thank you once again for patience listening.